Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we are connecting with Davide Biocchi, Directa. Welcome.
Well, thank you for that. And very, very good day to all the people that are following us.
Yes, and this is the first day after Donald Trump gave us his speech, after this official statement. It is obvious that Iran and US war is already done. So, what's on your mind today? What assets do you monitoring during today's session?
Well, for sure today, this is again a day of risk on. Okay, so investors are selling the crude oil, as we can see easily here. So people are normally selling the crude oil, and they are again getting the money out from the bond, and they are again investing on stocks. So we have the oil down, we have the gold down, we have the bond down, okay, and we have money, let me say, going to buy stocks. So we have a very positive situation on the stocks market, especially on the US one, with the new top, new maximum, okay? And especially if I show you something like the S&P 500, and if we are able to see that in the last day, we had a very positive situation about the volumes. So imagine that we have this candle that is a very, very strong bullish kind of candle, and with a very interesting volume traded. So it's very interesting situation. And again, we can see that despite from the last part of the year, we have more volatility in this moment in the market than before.
So may we actually forecast that S&P 500, Nasdaq, or Dow Jones Industrials will continue the bullish trends?
Well, it seems exactly like this. It seems that the market is again focusing on the same theme, that on the same, let me say, market movers that worked before in the last part of the year 2019. Okay, so here in 2020, we have now the same situation, and the fact that it is scheduled for the signature of the trade war agreement, let me say, the step one in this case, or phase one as we can call it. This is very important. The market really like it, and so especially the stocks that are part of the Nasdaq, so the technological market. If we can see right now, the situation is even better than the S&P 500. So we have a very interesting situation in the market. So we have new historical maximum, new, let me say, very nice volume traded, very clear, a very clear situation, and the people are keen on buying stocks. So this is something that is really interesting about the stocks market. And if we switch to Europe, we have a situation that is very similar. If we consider, for example, the DAX, this is the DAX future, and we know that recently the DAX was maybe more weak for sure than the S&P 500, but also more weaker than other indexes in Europe, like the Italian one, for example. But it seems we are very close to overtake the price of 13,500. That is more or less the maximum here. That is the price that is, let me say, the resistance, not allowing the market to move, really. So this could be another interesting element. Also, the German index, just remember that if we consider the macroeconomy, the German PMI was not so good. The German situation shows us that they have, let me say, some problems, especially from the manufacturing side. But it seems that this very strong situation that we have in the stocks market it's going to involve also the DAX that was weaker in the previous period.
Of course, fundamentally speaking, American stocks, American indexes are in much more positive situation than European indices. But Davide, you are a professional trader. Did you actually have a chance to open any long positions during last couple of hours, last couple of days?
Well, for sure, I had a position on the gold, as I was telling you yesterday, and I'm now
in terms of indices.
Yes, and I'm now thinking to switch from the gold to the stock indices. Imagine that, for example, if we consider Italy, there is a quite interesting situation that we have here, because our index was very close to a resistance that is more than 10 years that the market is not able to overtake, to go through, to do a breakout. Okay, this resistance is some 2% far from the present prices. So I think that if it will happen, we will have something like a boost, okay, in the market. And this will involve also some markets that are now weaker as the DAX one. But as you were saying, if we look at the macroeconomic situation, if we think about it, we have a very different situation in US, where the economic situation is very consolidated and strong, okay, and Europe, in which we have a situation that is not so good. So we have something like the market going somewhere and the economic growth going down. Okay, so the market is going up, the economy is not in a good shape, and I think that it cannot last such a long time in the future. So what we will see in Europe is, if we have the opportunity to see some better data in the macroeconomic, otherwise the market will come back, unfortunately. But this is something that we will see in the next 2-3 months.
As you have mentioned, European stocks are getting higher and higher. What is current situation on FTSE Milano? Because it probably is one of the strongest indices so far in 2020.
Well, only the Greek one did better in the previous year. So what we can see here, I try to go back in history, is that we are very close to this resistance that we had previously. So we are really trying to do this effort to overtake, because this is the future. So let's consider that is very close to 24,000 points. But if we consider the index, it's 24,500. So it's something a little bit different, as always happened with the futures. So it's a very interesting situation. But if we have a look at the Euro Stock 50, this is something that we can see, let me say, not so far. So if we go here and see the Euro Stock 50, this is very similar to the Italian index. So we are very close to a resistance that is really important to overtake.
And do you think this resistance line will last? Is it the beginning of the corrective move?
Well, this is where let me say, the battle will take place. Because in my opinion, I think that despite all the situation in Europe, the market that is really so strong, and the money coming out from the bond and going to the stock will help the situation and will help the market violating these resistances. But this is just my opinion. In any case, I think that we will not stay for such a long time under this level. It will be something like that, or we will move up and overtake it, and then the market will probably run. Okay. Otherwise, we will have a market going back even of some quite important number of points. So this is something that we will see in the future. The thing that what I think is that this year I expect it to be more volatile than the previous one.
Well, volatility is all we need, and volatility was visible on gold. You have mentioned this precious metal today, and you were talking about ending this long position. Is it because of last price action?
Okay, so this is where I suppose the long position to be taken. That is the overtaking of a market of this 1,480 points. So it's dollar per ounce. So it's really relevant because the market overtaking this violated both a dynamic trend line and also a static support. So what happened was that the market ran so fast, the price arrived very close to 1,600. That can be considered a resistance, and then we have this very negative candle that is showing us that probably the market was risk off, so buy gold, but now is again risk on, so sell gold and buy stocks. Okay, so it seems to me that the market is coming back a little. If we go back through the years, we can see easily, just let me check, we can see easily why I can consider this level such important. Okay, so if we go back on a weekly basis, okay, we can see why I think that this price can be considered a resistance. Can you see the price of 1,600 if we go back in the past? That this area worked a lot here, okay, as a support and then as a resistance here. And so when the market tried to pull back. And so this is why I suppose the price really moved around this level. This is exactly the price of 1,600. So this is why for me the big run of a gold stopped exactly there for the moment, obviously.
Davide, we are slowly running out of time, so I would like to ask you last question.
Okay.
Do you think it is today, or maybe not today, but this week, this month is a good time to get involved in stock market, or should we wait for a bigger correction?
Well, I think that to be involved in the stock, and when we say that, I think it's to buy the stock market. I think that it's now important to wait for the breakout of the resistance. So only in this case, I think that people can go long and remain long for some swing, very nice trades. Okay. On the other side, we are very close to the resistance, so it's now a moment where it's better to wait a little. Okay. If you will buy right now, you will anticipate the market, and this is not always the best thing that you can do. So, in my opinion, this is the idea that I have, and I, as told, expect this month to be very important in that, because at the end of this month, we will have the Brexit. During this month, we will have everything connected to Trump concerning the impeachment, concerning the trading war, and all the things, let me say, that this very important person will tell us. So in a certain way, I expect this month to be very, very important to see what will happen in the market in the last 3-4 months until the spring, I mean.
And let it be a conclusion of our talk. Thank you very much, Davide, for today.
Thank you to you for hosting me, and bye-bye to everyone. Ciao from Italy.
See you. Bye.